Yo, what is going on, everyone? Thank you for checking out the channel today. Today we are going to be going over my first place run at a local league challenge that I got this past Saturday. I'm going to go over the deck that I used, the matchups that I played against, and kind of my small little preparation that I used to go into the event. So, as mentioned, I did have a league challenge that I played in this past Saturday. I did go 301, took first place with 10 points, and I chose to run it with Chien-Pao. Now, I chose to go with Chien-Pao just because, since we're nearing the end of the season, I kind of just want to play more consistent decks, just to try and get, some points to round out the season. I did, try to have fun with some of the decks that I played. So I figured, with the last couple of events I'm going to be going to, I'm just going to try and go consistent. So this list really isn't anything like super special. I'm pretty sure it is just the list that Zach Lesage ended up posting, which is just a very slightly modified version of Reagan's top 4 list. So to start off, we do have the 3 Chien-Pao. He's the main kind of Pokemon of the deck. He's got that Shivery Chill ability. While he's in the active, you can search your deck for 2 water energies, and then has that Hail Blade attack, which lets you discard however many water energies you want from play, and then it does 60 times. And then the only other big hitter we have is the Iron Hands EX. We are only playing the 1 electric energy, so he's only in here for Amp You Very Much to help us out in those 1 prize matchups. Next up, for the Baxcalibur line, we're playing 3 Frigibacks. I chose to go with 360s. I've always never really been a fan of the 70 HP Frigibacks, even before we got the collect one. It just feels like the 2 retreat is going to hinder you a lot more than the 10 HP is going to help you. Back when it was more standard to play the 70 HP one, we were seeing a lot more Sableye, and they were getting to 10 pretty consistently. But it feels like Lost Box as a deck is kind of falling out of favor, and therefore Sableye is starting to see less play. People are usually only playing 1 of it now. So I think we can get away with playing 60s and no 70s, because I really do like the 1 retreat, but I would not be surprised if I do end up playing a 70 HP one sometime in the future for a different tournament. And we are playing the 2 Baxcaliburs. Pretty self-explanatory. It just has the super cold ability, which you rain water energies into play as often as you like during your turn. So we use Chien-Pao to grab the waters, use the Baxcalibur to accelerate them, and then we just do big damage from turn to turn. And then to round out the support line, we are playing a 2/2 Beaverell. So this card goes really well into a deck like Baxcalibur, because we do have a lot of discarding items and supporters and stuff, so it is very easy to get the hand down low, and then Baxcalibur's ability can be used at any point during the turn. So if we have a handful of energies, we can put them into play, then use Bib, and then proceed with the rest of our turn. This is really key for getting you out of Iono and Roxanne and stuff. It helps you keep finding your combo pieces, because I think, as Tord, so appropriately explained when he justified his reasoning for playing the 1/1 Bibarel and Charizard, Bibarel goes really well into combo decks because it is just extra draw before you need to start searching. So the more pieces you can draw into, the less you need to search. Therefore, it makes your combo more consistent and easy to hit. And then to round out the Pokemon, we are playing 1 Iron Bundle and 1 Radiant Greninja. The Iron Bundle is really cute. It has a lot of different purposes in here. So its ability, Hyper Blower, is really good for getting around things like Flutter Mane and stuff like that. And then its attack, Refrigerated Stream, is really good. It does 80 damage, and then if it attacked into an evolution Pokemon, it prevents that Pokemon from attacking. So this is honestly pretty good in some different scenarios. You can use this super early on in the mirror match to KO Frigibaxes. You can use it to KO a Radiant Charizard. You can use it, you know, on a Noivern to stop them from attacking you. You can use it against a Banette to stop the item lock. So overall, this has a lot of unique utility. And because of the pairing of Chien-Pao and Iron Hands, if you use Hyper Blower on an active Pokemon that you can't KO, 9 times out of 10 your opponent is going to have something on the bench that you can KO with either one of these two. So it's almost guaranteed 2 prizes in certain scenarios. Next up, for supporters, we are playing the standard 4 Irida, and then for backup supporters, we are playing 1 Boss's Orders, 1 Cypher Maniac, and 1 Silene. The Boss's Orders was the Zach Lesage edition. He cut a Cypher Maniac for the boss, and I really liked this. Before, Chien-Pao used to play like a counter catcher, and lately it just doesn't feel like that is a card that is really ever live for a deck like this anymore. And then just having the out to the hard boss has been really key in certain instances. And then Cypher Maniac is just an insane card for this deck, with the ability to draw with Greninja, Bibarel, and then mill with Pokestop. You can create some nutty turns with this card. And then Silene is such a great inclusion. Being able to grab like your Prime Catcher back, get your Canceling Cologne back, get extra Superiors, extra rare candies, Super Rods. This card really is insane, and it's a great answer to a card like Airy, which has been giving Chien-Pao problems because it, you know, snipes your Superiors and your rare candies and stuff, and can really make the game difficult for you. Next up, we do have 3 Pokestop. This is a card that I have been seeing a lot of people cut down to 2, and after my league challenge, it is actually a card that I probably will also be cutting down to 2. There's a lot less stadium removal in the format right now, so the odds that this sticks for at least a turn or 2 is pretty high, so you can usually get good value out of this. And it's no longer needed as a counter stadium to something like Path. So even if it isn't in play, we don't need it in play to get access to our abilities like we used to. So the need for this card has definitely gone down. So I think I'm going to cut this for probably a 4th rare candy. And then next up for items, we have the consistency of 4 Poffin, 4 Nest, 4 Ultra. Like I said, this deck is just filled with burnable items and maximum consistency. This is the reason to play more Pokestops, is because you have access to all of these items. But it just feels like more often than not, I was like either milling extra Pokestops or I was drawing into Pokestops that I didn't need. So I'd really much rather have this be a more impactful card. And then to round out the 4 ofs, we're playing 4 Superior Energy Retrieval. Also, I'm going to apologize right now. I'm sure, you know, a lot of you can tell that the camera's flipped. This was just the easiest way for me to get this angle, was to have the camera flipped. I couldn't do it the other way. So if that annoys you, I apologize, but it was just the easiest way for me to do this profile. So we have the 4 Superior Energy Retrievals. This helps us get big KOs with Chien-Pao, helps us get an MP very much off of 1 card, helps us thin cards out of the hand. Overall, just great card for something like Chien-Pao. And then we are playing 3 rare candy. We are only playing 2 Baxcalibur because most of the time you're only going to need to set up 2, but you do have the 3rd rare candy as a card to draw into, and we do play, you know, 3 Super Rod. So if you do need to set up more Baxcaliburs, it's relatively easy to do so. So that's why we play the extra count, and that's why I want to play 4, because more often than not, when I was resolving Pokestop, I was trying to find rare candy, so that way I could use my Irida to grab something different. And I think a lot of that has now become because of Prime Catcher. I think the fact that now we have an item-based guaranteed gust it puts a lot more pressure on Irida and the items she can grab. So you really want to max out on the other items because this is already at its max count, and so therefore it is much harder to find. So if you max out the counts of these cards, they're easier to find naturally throughout the turn, so Irida can go grab this. And then, you know, as mentioned, we do have the 3 Super Rod. I think 3 Super Rod is correct. The amount of times I have resolved 3 Super Rod in a game is insane. It really does come up quite a bit, and I wouldn't even be surprised to see people playing 4. This card is just really good in this deck. And then next up for the one-ofs, we do have the 1 Canceling Cologne, 1 Earthen Vessel, 1 Hisuian Heavy Ball, and 1 Prime Catcher. Canceling Cologne is to go in tandem with the Radiant Greninja. We can boss up a Manaphy, use Canceling Cologne against like Lost Box, Charizard even, and use Moonlight Shuriken to take 2 prizes with a 1 prizer, which can help offset the prizes. Earthen Vessel is just item-based energy search, and then it does serve as a way to grab the electric energy for the Iron Hands. Heavy Ball is because, you know, naturally we have a lot of Pokemon that we are trying to get into play quite early. Like our ideal early board is usually 2 Frigibax, the 2 Bidoof, and Greninja. So odds are one of those will probably be prized. So this is just a card that you can, you know, see throughout the turn or grab with Irida to get extra Pokemon set up. And then the A-Spec Prime Catcher, natural fit for Chien-Pao. Chien-Pao's ability only works while it's in the active, so with Prime Catcher you can either promote Pao to get the energy surge and then catcher it to the bench, or you can do it the flip way where you search for a Pao, Prime Catcher something, and then put the Pao in the active and grab the energies. So this card is just really insane for a deck like this, and I think this is probably the deck that takes advantage of it the most. And then finally, for the energies, we are playing the 1 Electric, and then we are playing 8 Water. Relatively standard. You know, like I said, this list has been established. It has done well. It is proven to be good. Like I said, I think the only difference between this list and Reagan's top 4 list is the 1 Frigibax that I chose to play, and then the 1 Boss's Orders over the 1 Siphon Maniac that Zach Lesage chose to play, and then the Pokestop for the rare candy was something I was already considering, but we did see Eddie North, I believe, get top 8 at Indy with that exact change. So, you know, as you can see, the hive mindset of Chien-Pao is, you know, starting to come through. But yeah, guys, that's the list that I used. I'm going to go ahead and leave it up on the screen, and then I'm going to start diving into the actual match report. So round 1, I did play against Future Hands. However, this list was very unique. It didn't play generators, and it played the Future Miraidon EX. So it was definitely a lot slower, and that was something I was able to take advantage of. The fact that he wasn't able to get off an Amp You Very Much without like 2 turns of attaching made a big difference in that matchup. So game 1 was pretty close. He got a turn 1 Gust KO on a Frigibax, and then I prized both of my Bidoof and the electric energy for the Amp You Very Much. So I basically had to brute force that matchup with Chien-Pao and gusting effects, but I did get there in the end. And then actually real quick, my locals likes to play best of 3 league challenges. They say it's good practice for like regionals and stuff. So game 2, I start Lone Ninja and pass, and then he obviously wasn't able to kill it because of the no generators, and Miraidon can't hit 130 unless you have all 4 Miraidon, or all 4 Iron Crown and a Future Booster. So I was like, you know, hedge the bets and say that you won't get it, and he didn't. So he just hits me for like 80 or 60 or something. So then turn 2, I get down double Frigibax and double Bidoof. And then early on into the game, I did get a Prime Catcher into a follow-up boss and was just able to kill his Iron Hands very easily, and he wasn't really able to put on a lot of pressure. So we did take the round 1 dub. I'm going to go ahead and try and put up, what I think these lists that I played against look like, just so you guys can get an idea. I'm going to have to try and figure out what exactly his list looked like. Round 2, I do go against my friend Brandon. Me and him have been kind of brewing up a different take on Ancient Box for him. So we did play against that Ancient pile in round 2. I was really afraid because typically Ancient Box is pretty bad for Chien-Pao. However, Brandon was slightly inexperienced in this matchup, and I definitely think that caught up to him. So game 1, I KO'd his Lone Moon. He did get a turn 2 response into my Chien-Pao, so it really didn't matter that I KO'd the Moon. But he also had a Flutter Mane on the bench. So then the follow-up, I killed the Flutter Mane with Greninja, put 90 on a Moon. And then I killed the Moon with Iron Hands. And then he is choosing to play a 1-1 Rotom V-Star in his list. So I bossed up the Rotom V-Star and took my last 2 prizes. Game 2, I got to use Moonlight Shuriken twice on 2 Roaring Moons, KO'd them, and offset the prizes in my favor. And then I just amped a Greninja for game. So that one actually went pretty smoothly for me. I definitely think if Brandon was more experienced in the matchup, he could have played a little bit differently, and I don't think I would have won this otherwise. Round 3, I do go against the new Arc control deck that's running around with the Radiant Charizard and the Aries and the Grabbers. Initially, I thought he was playing Charizard because I did see him like shoveling his deck next to me the round prior, and I saw Fire Energies and Airy, but I didn't see what his engine was. So I won the coin flip, and I chose to go first, which I don't know what my logic was there, but I chose to go first thinking he was playing Charizard, and it really backfired. So he goes turn 1, attach Arc, or bench Arc, attach, and then he Ultra Balls away another Ultra Ball and grabs Bidoof, and that right there told me he had a V-Star in his hand, because getting the V-Star out is priority number 1, and the fact that you got rid of 2 Ultra Balls turn 1 and got a Bidoof hard tells me you have a V-Star in your hand. And so my start was super dead. I started like Greninja and like a bunch of items, and then I used concealed cards, drew into 2 more dead cards, and immediately scooped. Game 1 lasted 5 minutes, so I knew that I was going to be super behind, especially since I didn't get any Frigibax down. And I'm like, yeah, you have the turn 2 Arc. I don't have a good setup. I'm scooping. I might need the time later. And I ended up didn't needing the time. So, the second game gets really awkward for me. I have to really grind through my resources because I prized the Baxcalibur and then I milled the other one off of a Pokestop super early. So I really just have to sit there and kind of fight to stay alive. The benefit is that Arc can't one-shot Chien-Pao because that deck does play Hero's Cape. So I was given quite a few free turns of just having my Pao just, absorb a hit. And eventually I did rally back, get back to back double prize turns, and I won a super close game 2. And then game 3 starts with like 10 minutes left on the clock, something like that. It was a really long game 2. And game 3 goes the exact same for me. I prized a Baxcalibur and milled a Baxcalibur. And that game, I was even worse for me. Like, I barely got to play game 3. I was, digging with bibs and super rods and Pokestops and stuff. Like, I just was never able to find all of the resources I needed in the same turn. So it got to the point where when time was called, I did have a chance to win, but I needed to KO an Arc V-Star on my turn in time, and I whiffed the KO. So now I knew I had to play for a tie because there was a world where he could have won. So he goes into his turn, he sets up everything, he fills up his board, has like 2 Arcs, 2 Bibs, a Squovet, stuff like that. And he goes down to 2 prizes. I'm at 4. I'm on my last turn of time, and I can take a knockout. And part of me was willing to like kind of take the knockout, set up my board, and be like, hey, I had out to game. Is there, do you want to take the tie? Do you think you would have won still? Like, maybe try and negotiate a win for either one of us because a tie didn't do anything. But I noticed with him being at 2 prizes that if I KO'd the active, he had the energy to retreat. So if he had and a Magma Basin in play, so if he had a Nest Ball, he could have Radzard me for game. And so I just chose to go with the tie, and I'm like, pass. He's like, okay, yeah, we're gonna tie. And he shows me his hand. He's like, yeah, I had the Radzard. I'm like, yeah, I figured you did. So we go on to 201 into the last round. And I do hit my friend Cam, who is playing a 58 card mirror. He is playing the Kyogre over the 3rd Chien-Pao, and I'm playing the 3rd 60 HP Frigibax. He's playing the 70. We both kind of have the understanding that if one of us gets like a Baxcalibur into a Greninja and KOs like 2 Frigibax, that the match is probably going to be over. But this game was really interesting because he wins the coin flip and gets the better setup. Like, my hand is super dead. I do have a turn 2 Baxcalibur, but I have no way of capitalizing on it. So I choose not to evolve because I do have 2 Frigibax down. Actually, I have 3, sorry. I did get double. I eventually, we both missed Baxcalibur, air quotes. I had it, but I chose not to use it. We both missed it for like 3 turns straight. So I was able to get multiple Frigibax down. So I was really comfortable just not evolving into Baxcalibur. And he's basically just manually attaching to a Chien-Pao in the active and just discarding and killing, like Frigibaxes. Eventually, I hit the full combo turn. I got Chien-Pao, Prime Catcher, Rare Candy Bax, Irida. So I'm able to gust up his Bibarel and Moonlight Shuriken, his 2 Frigibax, and he just immediately scoops because at that point I can just constantly keep pressuring Frigibaxes that come down, and he basically will never be able to rally back. And then game 2, he goes first. He starts super slow, and I get the perfect setup. I think I opened up like Poffin, Ninja, and then between the Ninja and the Pokestop mill, I found another Poffin. So I had like triple Frigibax, Bidoof, and Greninja in the active with a POW in hand, and I think I had a Rare Candy as well. And so I just get the turn 2 backs into Greninja, and he tries to stay in there for a couple extra turns, but eventually it just becomes too much, and I do take the dub in that one as well. So we do round out with a 301 record. We get first place at 10 points. Brandon actually gets second place, and then Cam actually got fourth place. So And then the guy that I played round 3 got 3rd place as well. So between me and my opponents, we made up all of top 4. We did get, you know, the 15 points, got some prize packs, and overall had a good night. So then real quick, just to go over like the preparation, like I said in the beginning, I really wanted to just play something consistent and something fun. Pao was a deck that I've always relied on to get me consistent wins. I did take this to a case tournament back when Paradox Rift came out, and I did win that. So, you know, Pao has always been old reliable for me. And I am considering playing this for the LA Regional, so I did want to get some extra practice in there. And it felt like a good call overall. And obviously with the results, I can't complain. But yeah, guys, that was my tournament report. Look forward to some preparation videos I'm going to be making soon. I'm going to be going over how to prepare for each level of tournament, starting with league challenges and eventually culminating to the World Championships, because it does seem like I have a lot of newer players that want that kind of exposure and advice, so I'm going to go ahead and try my best to get those videos out. But yeah, guys, remember, if you do enjoy content like this, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave me your feedback down below, and I will see you in the next one.